Let's take you to the story now. E-hailing drivers are continuing their strike action despite a meeting that, according to the Gauteng Transport Department, had yielded positive results. The drivers say they want the government to regulate the industry. Meanwhile, if you're planning on ordering food today, you might have to pick it up yourself, as there won't be any drivers available to deliver on the Uber Eats app. Let's get an update now from reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones, who is out on the streets for us. Pule, we also saw some customers also complaining about how much it's costing for them to get around now. So I'm assuming today there are no rides at all. It's not even about how much money you're expected to pay. There won't be any rides at all.
Definitely, the message is quite clear. All e-hailing service apps must be off. This is a message from the Unity and Diversity representing the disgruntled drivers. But while this is the case, we do understand the strike is entering its second day, and the demands they've been tabled say that they want a lesser commission that has to be given to the e-hailing companies, which is 25%. They say it should be 10%. They're calling for safety regulations and a more transformative industry. But at the top of this all, they're calling for an end to exploitation, saying that government should intervene in addressing some of these issues. I'm going to speak to Mr. Balengwa now from the Unity and Diversity to give us more clarity. Maybe let's just start about any response that you've received from either presidency or the presidency's office or the Department of Trade and Industry. Have they responded? I know you gave DTIC 48 hours yesterday when handing over your memorandum.
The DTIC has responded with an acknowledgement of our memorandum. The Office of the Presidency has acknowledged our memorandum and have directed us to the DTIC and the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, to address our concerns, saying that those are the departments we should be engaging with on our matters.
Okay, let's get clarity around this whole process. As we understand that the department to be dealing with this whole issue is the Department of Trade and Industry, but you've also said that you'd be handing over a memorandum to the Transport Department, of course being led by Mr. Jacob Mambolo in Gauteng. Would you say you're barking at the wrong tree?
I wouldn't say that at all, right? Essentially, we fall within the ambit of transportation. And Mamabolo has a responsibility to ensure he takes care of what's happening within his industry. So if Mamabolo must then be proactive to engage the DTIC and say, under what grounds have you let these operators into the country? Can we get some clarification? Can we understand the framework so we can hold them accountable? He must then do so. You know, we fall within the ambit of the Department of Transportation. So Mamabolo and Mr. Mbalula, Fikile Mbalula, are accountable. You know, they must be held accountable. And the Office of the Presidency is correct in directing us to their door.
Okay, now let's get a sense of the meeting that took place, I think, about 48 hours ago, where it was yourselves and, of course, Mr. Mamabolo. Did we have some of the e-hailing companies in that meeting as well? Have they pledged their support to say, we will come to the table and help you with your demands that you've raised?
The e-hailing companies that operate within South Africa have never come to any table. They are always evasive. They've never shown any goodwill, right? And this is why we are no longer trying to engage with them or sending memorandums to them, because we've done that several times. We are now simply saying, government, intervene. You have let the wolf into the hen house. What are you going to do to solve this problem?
And you spoke about the issue of exploitation, saying that at the core of this was an issue of some of the undocumented, illegal foreign nationals in the country having to work in this field, which is costing you guys, and you guys cannot raise such critical issues.
I think, you know, we live in a very sensitive environment within South Africa where xenophobia is a real thing. But to correctly characterize the situation, we've got a vast amount of undocumented migrant workers within the e-hailing sector. We believe this is intentionally done by e-hailing companies in order for them not to be able to take up labor action because they are undocumented migrant labor workers. Our first and foremost position is that no African child should go exploited on African soil. So let us move to first protect ourselves as Africans, and should we have other further issues to deal with in future, we will address them accordingly and let the relevant departments, whether it's labor, whether it's immigration, come in and do their work. You know, it's not my mandate to do so. It's not, you know, the random person's mandate to do so. There are the authorities that have the responsibility to do so, and they must come into action and do what they must.
But just before I throw back to my colleague, Masiho Kosakenya, I'm running out of time. Yesterday there was an incident that took place. It was alleged that the Uber drivers and the police officials took place. And what is the update? What's going on with that?
We are aware. We personally, I can confirm that in my personal capacity, I recovered the firearm, returned it to law enforcement, and handed the individuals over to law enforcement. We denounce all criminality. We will continue to work hand in hand with law enforcement. Should anybody be aware of any other criminal activity, please let us know. Drivers know how to reach us within our respective groups, and we will hand those individuals over to law enforcement.
Thank you very much. There we go, Masego. That's Vatuka from Unity in Diversity, representing the disgruntled e-hailing service providers. But what we also know is that this strike is expected to carry on until tomorrow midnight. But they've also threatened that should there not be any sort of commitment coming from the parties, which includes, of course, government and from the e-hailing companies, they could continue for the rest of the week, which could have a terrible burden on the clients using some of these e-hailing services.
All right, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, let's leave it there for now.